Explosive testimony in a Tucson, Arizona courtroom.
He would always use the term, "She needs to disappear. She needs to go away."
David Wayne Watson, the fireman who spent years saving lives, now on trial for taking 3 lives.
Don't shoot me, Dave! No!
And finally, the verdict is in.
Was there any possibility that the jury would want to consider further discussions?
Not at this time.
Crime Watch Daily first brought you this story last season, a cold case that's divided a family and stumped police for years. David Watson, the strapping young fire captain, and his ex-wife Linda were in a bitter custody battle over their young daughter Jordan. Then Linda mysteriously disappeared from her home the day before she had an appointment to get a restraining order against David. Cops immediately suspect her ex-husband, but David had an alibi. His new wife, Rosemary, told cops he was with her the night Linda went missing. Linda never turned up, and no arrest is ever made.
As simple as it may seem to the mind that, well, of course he did this, you still have to prove it. It's just not that simple.
Then, years later, Linda's mother, Marilyn Cox, and her neighbor, Renee Farnsworth, are mysteriously gunned down in the very driveway where Linda once lived. And get this, police say Marilyn was also embroiled in a nasty fight with David for visitation rights to see Jordan. The only difference between the two cases, Marilyn may have seen her killer coming. The evidence? A chilling email from Marilyn to her attorney surfaces from beyond the grave. Marilyn writes she was afraid what happened to her daughter might happen to her.
She said, quote, "I just want you to be aware that if I should disappear, it won't be of my own choosing."
Still, David isn't charged. Then, a possible break. In the mountains outside the city, a hunter finds Linda's skull, but it's so badly decomposed, cops glean few clues as to how she died or who killed her. Once again, the case goes cold. Then, this bombshell.
State your name, please.
Rosemary Watson.
David's now ex-wife Rosemary, who gave him an alibi all those years ago, says she lied, telling investigators David disappeared without explanation the night Linda went missing.
Why would I defend him? I don't even know. Because I was afraid maybe the answer would be something I didn't want to hear.
Rosemary reportedly told police she once asked her husband, "Are you going to bury me in the desert next to Linda?" It was the evidence cops needed to charge David with 2 counts of first-degree murder and 1 count of second-degree murder.
Yes.
Linda Watson was murdered. Her blood was smeared in the front entryway at her house.
Now, the former fire chief sits stone-faced in court, listening to the prosecution's star witness, his second ex-wife, Rosemary.
At that time, did you know what had happened that night?
Nope.
Were you still freaking out?
I was very panicked and confused, and the look on his face clearly told me, as his wife or anybody who knew and loved somebody, that something was wrong.
Rosemary divulges the painful secrets she hid for years.
What he used to say after Linda would leave or after we would leave, he would always use the term, "She needs to disappear. She needs to go away."
The little girl at the center of the fatal family feud, Jordan Watson, now a young woman, also takes the stand. But she defends her dad.
Anything suspicious where it led you to believe your dad was involved in your mom's disappearance?
Nothing.
Anything suspicious that led you to believe that he was involved in Marilyn's shooting or Renee's shooting?
Nothing.
Then a surprise witness takes the stand, Linda's former boyfriend, and believe it or not, testifies for the defense.
She said she would shoot herself at one point.
Linda Watson may have been murdered, but it wasn't at the hand of this man. Renee and Marilyn, they were murdered, but it wasn't as a result of Dave.
Was David Watson a cold-blooded killer, desperate to keep his daughter? Or were the deaths of Linda, Marilyn, and Renee merely coincidental? The jury delivered their verdict.
Okay, you are unable to come to verdicts, and that remains the case.
Yes.
All right.
In a twist no one saw coming, the jury of 8 women and 4 men was deadlocked.
Was there any possibility that the jury would want to consider further discussions?
Not at this time.
So David Watson still sits behind bars. Now it's up to prosecutors to retry him or let the man who police believe murdered these 3 women walk free.